Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Of course, our mission is to prevent proliferation of nuclear weapons. So the IAEA could never participate or endorse any type of agreement that would leave loopholes in this regard. You are correct in saying that there are different alternatives. What I can tell you, and of course the bilateral agreement still has to come to us for consideration and approval by the Board of Governors, but we have been intensively working with Saudi Arabia, with the United States government, and what I can tell you is that the idea is that we will have a number of extra measures. I don't want to use the word additional, because the additional protocol, but it's going to be added layers of very stringent verification that are going to be focused, zeroing in on a number of activities that are going to be taking place when the agreement comes into force, of course, in Saudi Arabia, and that are going to be giving us, my inspectors, because they are the ones that are going to be out there in the field checking that there is no deviation, that there are no undeclared activities, and so on. So we are confident that when the whole process, of course you have a process, and this is in the domain of the United States, when all of that is finished, it will come to the IAEA. Director General of the IAEA will never put forward an agreement that would not guarantee non-proliferation, and this is the case for this agreement.
The International Atomic Energy Agency is the monitor of those safeguards. But this is the model President Trump has spoke of since he arrived in his second term, which is commerce, not conflict in the Middle East. Let's cooperate on energy and economic progress, but do it in a safe, thoughtful, carefully designed fashion.
And it does open the door to uranium enrichment by Saudi Arabia in some future.
Every agreement, whatever an agreement says, two parties can always come together and say, yeah, let's revisit that agreement. The only difference in this agreement is it explicitly says that. We're going to work together, the United States and Saudi Arabia, and evaluate what are the rooms for growth of the Saudi nuclear industry. They have uranium reserves in Saudi Arabia. Maybe we should be mining uranium in Saudi Arabia. Maybe there's other commercial roles in the nuclear space for Saudi Arabia and American cooperation. Certainly there's no reason in the near term to bring enrichment technology to Saudi Arabia. They don't even have a nuclear reactor yet. So I would say that's something many years down the road, and it would only happen if at that time Saudi Arabia and the United States government both mutually agreed this makes commercial sense and this fits into our national security framework. Yeah, I've heard things in the press saying it's bringing enrichment or granting enrichment and reprocessing to Saudi Arabia. That's just not true. But thank you for asking that question. So both of these are a process. To bring commercial nuclear to Saudi Arabia, it goes through Congress. It'll come back to the president. This is a process. I'm thrilled that President Trump started the Abraham Accords 6 years ago, and they have been a road for peace and bringing countries together in the Middle East. That President Trump and the entire administration shares the desire to get all countries in the Middle East to join the Abraham Accords, move past the era of conflict and towards the era of commerce. So yes, President Trump has explicitly linked Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords to the deployment of nuclear power into Saudi Arabia. Both of those tracks will be worked in parallel, and they're both just tremendous goals for the U.S. and for Saudi Arabia. That's President Trump's decision at the end of the day, but I think he's been pretty clear, and he's been clear for years of his desire to get Saudi Arabia, just a critical ally of ours and partner in the Middle East, to join the Abraham Accords. He wants to see those two things happen together, and I think he sees a window of opportunity to make that happen. So very strong non-proliferation protocols in this agreement, very strong, bilaterally negotiated in cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency. This additional protocol people hear about, I think the United States has 2 countries that we have a 1, 2, 3 agreement with the additional protocol. So that is one pathway to have rigorous non-proliferation standards, but there are multiple others. No country has more rigorous non-proliferation standards than the United States of America. And this agreement has very rigorous, very clear, very inspection, trust but verify provisions that leave myself, the government of the United States, and our partners in Saudi Arabia very confident that this is a civilian program, will remain a civilian program, and it will be verifiably a civilian program.